Jay here for Stretford Paddock. This is the Paddock Podcast. Joining me are two absolute titans of the Manchester United fan base. I've got Mr. Ronaldo Brown. How are we doing?
Doing well, man.
Yeah?
Wally.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. You're having a little thing there. Oh, sorry. Is you...
No sound, yeah? Oh, shit.
Let's try again. Don't swear.
Oh. Eh? I didn't swear.
Did you say, oh, shoot?
I said, oh, shoot, but...
Yeah. Right, okay. Go on. You were talking about your new hoodie.
Got my vowels mixed up.
Right, it's all right. It happens to the best of us. Go on. Show us your new hoodie then.
No, I'm saying it's pretty nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who gave you that?
Yeah.
It was gifted to me, actually, from a Paddock watcher from the gym, sick guy, Jermaine. And he gave me this for free, and I was like, this suits me perfectly. So I thought I'm definitely wearing it and giving him...
Hashtag gifted.
Hashtag free product placement.
Right, okay. Have you done enough now?
I know. Jay's fuming because
I'm just going, I didn't get one.
I'll get you one.
Right, that's all right. You can, listen, you know me. You can advertise whatever you want on this channel. It's not an issue as long as
we literally pay.
I get a free jumper.
We literally pay the wages of Too Good To Go, both of us.
Me and Ronnie are obsessed with Too Good To Go.
Yeah, he's a good app.
That's another thing. Because joining me is Manchester's leading DJ, Mr. Joe McGrath.
I've not been on here for a bit. I don't think I've been on here since I got the job.
Yeah, because now it's just filling the people that don't know.
I'm a big deal now.
Oh, yeah.
Wait. Look at the way he's leading into that. He wants us to tell everyone what his job is.
For those who don't know, what is your job, Joe?
I work on the radio now.
Right,
I've always worked on the radio.
Yeah.
And I've always done shows now and again, but I've got my own breakfast show.
So have you not got someone with you? Because you and Ryan Brown used to do the breakfast show.
No,
on Access, which I used to love, by the way.
I have now and again. You might know this guy, the news anchor, Paul Lockett.
Do I know Paul Lockett? He's an absolute legend.
He does the show with us.
Right.
He comes in 3 or 4 times an hour and just has a chat.
Hero.
It's good. It's good stuff. Yeah. It's good stuff. But it's all across Greater Manchester. So tomorrow, building up to Bolton versus Wigan.
Oh.
The derby.
You've never asked me.
The what?
The what derby?
You never asked me to come on the radio.
I've asked you a couple of times to come on the radio and he's always made stuff up.
What do you mean?
Oh, he's always, you can tell, when someone's lying.
Is this on Total Sport and all that? Like, when you had the phone in?
Yeah,
you had a thing about that, didn't you? You refused to do it.
No, it was a couple of times. I go to the gym after work, and it's like 5, 6 in the evenings, and that's usually the time he wants me to be on. Right. And I'd literally be...
Could you not move the show for him?
I know, do
you know what I mean?
What are you literally doing?
He thought I'd made that up. So I don't know.
What's the worst machine to be doing whilst on the radio?
The worst machine?
Rowing.
Squat. Swimming.
Swimming's bad. Although technology these days is mad.
Do you know what? I go to the gym, I only go on the treadmill though. That's it.
How much is your gym?
£31 a month.
You spend 30 quid a month just to do what you run outside as well?
Could do outside.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. So what did you do on the treadmill?
Because it was cold. So I joined the gym. But I mean, I've done a little bit on that step machine as well. Just
that gets your bum going.
Get the glutes in it.
Yeah, and all that. So it's not...
Get your bum
looking good.
Get your bum bigger.
Yeah, got to... You know what I mean? Make an effort, Anna.
Do you have one of those vibrating ones?
Let me standard slip. What?
Do you have one of those vibrating ones?
It's none of your business.
It just keeps...
I feel like everyone's getting fit though. Everyone's in the gym. Steve's obviously living in the gym and he's doing his own thing. You've always been a bit of a gym, but all my mates are in the gym now. It's
what gets thrown at me now is vitamins and like shit to take in the morning and like your greens and like mad stuff that people are saying makes you look younger. It's all I'm getting on TikTok adverts. Are you? Maybe it's just because I look just like shit.
No. I mean a little bit.
Do you know what I mean by this?
Yeah, I do. I've even had it where I'll be having a conversation with someone about something and then I go on my Instagram about an hour later and I'll be flicking through stories and I'll get an ad for what I was speaking about.
What do you think? Do you think the phone's listening to you?
I think, yeah, the phone's definitely listening to you.
What do you think we'll get an advert for today? Some great chat. Hey?
Holland and Barrett,
yeah.
You said that almost like you was annoyed. What do you think we're going to advert for? Some great chat.
Yeah.
Sorry. No, well done. I'm glad you got that show because it's a big deal as well in Manchester. It's the main show, innit?
The main show.
You worked hard, you have grafted,
one.
You've worked your way up. I remember when you was just, barely doing what was it you used to do? The phoning.
Did the phoning. Yeah. Well, we used to do phoning on here.
We was phoning on a Thursday night, you and Webby, absolute dream team. Now and again I'd be a guest.
Yeah, you've been a guest quite a bit.
I used to love it, honestly. It's the funniest thing.
You've been on the radio before, Jay? You've done it all, Jay.
He's done it all, mate.
Absolutely
He's done it all.
Award-winning journalist.
You are award-winning because
you know what I mean. That's what I'm going to say. But yeah, I mean, I used to do the radio.
Why?
No. Can you DJ? Can you spin tunes?
Can I what?
Can you spin some tunes?
Is that what you have to do now?
Yeah.
Still do the vinyl?
As in like,
scratching that in the morning.
In a bar.
Here's one for you crazy cats. Is he just pressing buttons?
Yeah, he's pressing
I can do that.
Yeah.
I can click a mouse with the best of him.
Do you reckon there's an unhealthier lifestyle than being like a top tier DJ?
What, as in like the late night ones?
When I used to on the
knackered.
weekend, when I used to come in the morning on the weekend, the DJ had been up all night. Some of them were a bit worse for wear.
No, because I literally know one called Omar Young Goms. He's got main DJ, the Mason Collective, who are quite big, and they're like doing gigs and DJing all across the world, like 24/7. So it's not like just on a weekend thing. They'll be in Colombia on Tuesday and Peru on Wednesday and
really?
Stuttgart, and they're just all over. And I'm thinking, how do you stay healthy doing that?
Yeah, diet must be all over the place. And someone who
might
can
have to take other things, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe. Someone who can go all over the place. I knew someone who once, I think they had a DJ gig till 12 at night in the UK, and then went to Berlin or went to somewhere that was an hour away flight, and then closed the club that was 5 till 6 in the morning.
Really?
Can you imagine that? Imagine finishing work at midnight knowing you've got now to get a flight and then close.
Money's good though, isn't it?
Money's good. And like I say, I bet they've got a few sweets they can take to keep them awake. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, it's not exactly digging holes, is it?
Yeah, but you can't take them sweets every day. You can't.
It's rot your teeth.
Yeah, that's true. Adam Twamley says, for Christ's sake, Jay, what milk did Haaland have? This is a reference to the story last week that Haaland was spotted shopping at Asda for some milk. Big story there. I did promise an update on it. I have been looking into it. At the moment, we're hearing it was semi-skimmed, but I need to get that confirmed.
Yeah, I think it is semi-skimmed.
Yeah, it makes sense, doesn't it?
Or chocolate milk.
Chocolate could be chocolate milk. That would be outrageous.
It could be a bit of a mess the next time he backs into a defender.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Cameron Doyle says, Jay, the hardest working man on YouTube. Thanks, mate.
That's good.
Do you know what I mean? It's nice that. Rasta Faded says, did he get organic? We don't know. We will find out. What's that? Greg Pugh says, Jay, have you done cold plunge?
Cold plunge is essentially in the morning you get up and you dunk yourself in like -3 degree water.
Joe Smith does that, doesn't he?
He tried to do it, but now I just think he has a cold shower.
Right,
which I don't think it's the same.
I don't have a cold shower. At the end of my shower, I have it cold for like 30 seconds.
Do you like that? What? It's a genuine question. Do you like it?
It's all right.
Does it
livens you up a little bit? Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's
Would you do that, Ronnie?
Cold shower?
Cold plunge or something?
No, I don't do cold.
Do you not?
So, like when I used to play as well, I never used to do ice baths either.
Did you not?
You worry about your...
And it's interesting because only one time in like literally, this must have been in over 10 years of playing football at that level, and I got one muscle injury, and it was just basically a grade 1 quad for about 3 weeks, and I never really got pulled a hammy, pulled a calf, pulled anything. I never took ice baths, so it must be I must be Bruno.
Yeah, you are. I worry about your Bill and Ben's if you go into cold plunge.
Yeah, they become lowercase, don't they?
Tackle and that.
What do you mean?
What happens to them?
What, the shrinkage?
Just it must be so upsetting for them, just as much as because there's so much like.
What if it's already?
Because you've got to think there's certain things in your body need to stay a certain temperature, don't they?
Right. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The future you. So if you go to a cold plunge, it's -3.
Yeah.
They'll be shivering in there.
And what if it's already a micro?
Yeah.
Does it just go inside?
Man.
8 minutes in a podcast, we're talking about whether you can have an ice bath if you've got a micro penis.
Ethan?
That's See, he's turning it into sloppy joes. I will not have you saying our producer as anything like that.
That's a red card.
Yeah, you're not allowed to sort of
hey, listen,
do that kind
8
of
minutes
thing on
in.
Stretford Paddock. Yeah, you might get away with it on sloppies, but not on this channel.
8 minutes in and you can tell it's been an international break, innit?
Do you know what I want to say as well, right? Well done, lads. Yeah, well done to you guys at home, wherever you are. We have pretty much got through the international break, yeah. We've got the FA Youth Cup semi-final tonight, and United play tomorrow. We've more or less got through it, because it has been graft, hasn't it?
Oh, it generally is tricky, and you can see all the different other media outlets thinking about what to do, and they sort of create these mad debates that don't need to be hard, and you sort of go diving for stories, and then you kind of got to talk about England, and then you think, I don't really care. On the Premier League back, on Europa League back, and let's get United playing again. Even though we've not had the greatest of seasons, it's still not as bad as international break.
No,
do you know what I mean?
Honestly, it does mean, and it's one of those as well, because it's, United were sort of doing okay just before international break. I know we didn't exactly set the world alight, but decent win over Sociedad, decent win over Leicester. Even the second half against Arsenal was pretty impressive as well. You look at it, you think, okay, and then it's this big break.
Oh.
And then you've got no United players playing for England, if you care about that. I know Rashford played, but he's at Villa now. And then you've got a few others, like obviously Haaland and Eriksen and Dorgu at Denmark, but it's not like you can get excited.
Yeah,
what was it, Nations League and friendlies, was it?
Yeah, I think
It's a toss.
I couldn't care less.
I couldn't, and it was like, oh my god. Also, as well, it's like you're looking at United news, and you've got front page stories about Rasmus Hojlund buying bottles of milk. It's that desperate.
Yeah, it becomes
Scraping the barrel.
It becomes very desperate. Some people said that some of the Nations League games and qualifiers were good matches, but I just tend to not watch international football.
There's a question for you.
When it comes around, I like almost take it as a bit of a break myself.
I do.
Start watching other sports, but this has to be one of the longest because even it's the weekend we've come back, we've had to wait until tomorrow. Against Forest, and we actually have a bit of a difficult run.
April's a crazy month. Can I ask you then, just quickly, because Thomas Tuchel's he's going to go to America, isn't he, with this World Cup team, and he's going to want to win it. And he talked quite openly about, that is his goal, to win the World Cup. Do you think any United players, mainly probably, will be in that starting 11 for Thomas Tuchel in 2026?
I'm not sure, because the most likely player as of now is Rashford, who does seem to be favoured by international England managers. A lot of English fans that are not United fans believe that Rashford should be the starting left winger. I think it's only really him or Anthony Gordon. Anthony Gordon's been better than him probably over the past 12 months or so. But I don't know, I think his name still carries a lot of weight and cachet, and I think Tuchel's a fan of him. Yeah. Outside of him, I don't know, you got Maguire, you've got Luke Shaw, maybe Mason Mount. Let me preface it. I don't actually, but to be honest, I'm one of those English care like 99.9999%.
Oh, that's what I mean.
United. I don't really.
But listen, I'll care at the World Cup, and I'll care even more if there's some United players in that team, because he has got the ambition of winning it. So you would want Reds in that squad.
It's a good question. I think if Mainu gets himself fit again, there's every reason to think he can have a say in that squad, or he can be in that squad, or even the team, because he made, his debut in November 2023, and by May or June, whatever it was, 2024, he was playing in the Euros all the way up to the final. No, he didn't start the competition, but he forced his way in the team. So there's no he's 19 years old. I think he turns 20, it might even be next week. So he's still extremely young, and if you know what he's capable of. If he gets himself fit, because his career's sort of just beginning. You look at someone like Shaw, who when he's fit probably does start feeling, but he's never fit. Mason Mount is another one who, when he's fit, at least gets in the squad, but he's not been fit for more or less 2 years. And even, I think me and you were chatting about this the other day, Ronnie, the issue I have with Mason Mount isn't just his fitness. I like Mason Mount, I think he's a good player, but we've not really seen anything from him, because he has played for United.
It's a good conversation, because I think he was in the squad, back in the squad just before the international break. He's had another couple of weeks of train, get acclimatised, the intensity, get his legs back under him, and now we're going into quite a few games with him, especially if we get past Lyon, where Mason Mount should be integrated back into it, and it might actually be a big couple months for him now, where
I hope so.
He has to make sure that he doesn't fall into that surplus to requirements group, because it's been an absolutely travesty of a signing so far, Mason Mount. It's failed in every single possible metric. There's no excuse you can make, or there's no way you can almost like gaslight yourself or worm your way around it. It's been a shocking signing, and probably been one of the worst that we've had in recent memory in terms of what we've gotten back from him in terms of availability and performance when he's even played. And it's been 2 years now. When you base it on what we actually did pay for him, which was 55 million, when he had 1 year left on his contract, the wages we're paying him, it's just been a shambles. And we need to see him in a system now that probably does suit him with the position. He has to perform, it's simple as that. Otherwise, United might have to cut their losses. But so Mason Mount's actually somewhat like a bit of a talking point, and a player that's we need to be keeping an eye on from tomorrow on in future games.
Because I'd like to see what Mason Mount can do in this system. I really would. But he's had like 33 games United, but not many of them have been full 90s or starts. I get that. But he's had appearances.
A lot of false dawns as well.
Yeah, and it's just like he's not really got going. And then when we have seen him, we haven't really seen a lot. There's been a couple of decent showings. I think first half against Brighton last season, one or two others. But there's been games where he's not really been in it at all. So I'd love to see him get a run, show what he can do, and maybe we can see that player. Hopefully we can see that player that helped Chelsea win the Champions League. Because at the minute, like Ronnie's saying, I mean, it's looking like one of the worst signings we've made. And I'm not trying to have a dig at the kid because I feel sorry for him, but let's be honest, what have we got for that 55, 60 million? We haven't got anything. And it didn't help giving him the number 7 shirt, which isn't his fault. But that was a bit like, oh yeah, here's a number 7 shirt, here's a marquee signing, and it's like all this expectation, and you're like, hang on a minute, he's got, is it 1 goal for us so far? And people look and go, oh, you know what?
Like 5 yellow cards.
Yeah,
comes on, clatters someone, and that's it. Really,
we need a little bit more from Mason Mount. Hopefully, he can stay fit and get it. Like you said, he has been in training, and
I just think it was
not a million miles away.
An interesting point because when our successes of United, when you look at the teams, they've always been that rich sort of spine down the middle of English players. You know, from 90s under Fergie to his last Champions League. You know, you look at a team and you go, yeah, there's a homegrown talent in the UK, you'd say, that you can just look and tick to. But now we've got no one in the England squad, and you look to the future and you go, well, where is that? At the minute, it's Mainu. It might be Mount. I feel like
it's weird. It is weird, isn't it? As well, like,
a little bit.
You know, you see the England squad and like no United players.
That is weird.
Like, that is odd because all my lifetime we've like, when I was a kid, Brian Robson was always in the England squad. Then when I got a little bit older, you had players like Paul Ince, Gary Palace didn't get many caps to be fair, but he was in and around the squad. 1 or 2 others, like then you had the class of '92.
Yeah,
that was it. Then for the next 10 years, you had Beckham, you had Scholes, you had the Neville brothers, always in and around Nicky Butt, of course, in and around the England team. That carried on. Then Rooney, of course. Rooney was
to be their biggest
ever-present
goal scorer.
Yeah, was just like played almost every match. So there's always been a big United contingent, and then. If more recently, like Marcus Rashford has always been in and around the squad. Maguire, Shaw, and then now you're at the point where there's like,
no one.
Yeah, maybe if someone stays fit, they can get into the team. But it is odd. I mean, I'm not overly.
I know we're not overly asked, but it's always been part of our successes, hasn't it? And like you say, I didn't watch anything English stuff, but it will be the moment I turn on and I watch the World Cup. I see what it's like in America and Mexico and Canada. But I'd love to see a very rich England squad. If they do go on and win it, I'd love to see it with United players in it.
Yeah, I'm like I'm not a massive England fan, but in the Euros, for example, I wanted to see Kobe Mainoo win a trophy.
And also he stood up and was counting for it in a lot of the games there. He was brilliant.
My biggest thing with England and United is I always worry England United players going to get the blame. Do you remember that Sancho and Rashford missed penalties, and Saka did as well. And I didn't like what happened to Saka. I'm not saying that, but obviously my main concern is what happened to United players getting abused and all that. And can it get in their head? Can it affect them? I'm old enough to remember the effigies of David Beckham, Phil Neville getting death threats, even Rooney getting trolled because he was, because of what happened in South Africa. It's always been that thing where people love to have a dig and have a go at Manchester United players. Even having a go at Ronnie when he played against England for winking when Rooney got sent off. Which is just insane. A few people in the chat and the comments are asking about the sort of the thumbnail and ones that got away. I think we've got a Chelsea fan who's just sort of trolling everyone and moaning about, or just saying, Cole Palmer never came close to signing for Manchester United. One of the reasons we sort of thought we'd discuss about players we could have signed or nearly signed or were going to sign and for whatever reason didn't, is there's a story in the Manchester Evening News, and it's come from the Talk of the Devils podcast, which I think is Laurie Whitwell, Carl Anker, Ian Irvin, Andy Mitten, who've all been on the channel, and Laurie's on it. I think he's on it this week with Inside United, and he said that they spoke to a former academy coach, Colin Little, and he was saying that when he was 16, Cole Palmer almost signed for United. Cole Palmer obviously grew up, I think he was at Wivenshaw, wasn't it? Cole Palmer, is that where he's from?
Yeah.
Wivenshaw lad. Big United fan. There's all these pictures of him doing the rounds, weren't there, in his United kit and his family of Reds and all the rest of it. And I think they were saying here that when he was 16, there was the possibility of him leaving City, and United were trying to sort of looking at maybe trying to get him to come and join United, and thought that could happen. He said he was umming and ahhing and knew he was a big United fan. He was at that age when you're allowed to leave, 16 is it? They were umming and ahhing, Man City about it. I think City in the end made him a good enough offer, but he really was always a United fan, and it was close. I remember speaking. I think City needed to show him a bit more love and that kind of stuff. We never quite got it over the line, but it would have been nice if we did, wouldn't it? So when he was 16, when he was at City, there was a time when it looked like City maybe weren't showing him love, according to the former United coach, and United thought that might be an opportunity for us to get in there and get him. But City obviously gave him a deal. He stayed at City now and went to Chelsea, and the rest is history.
Do you know what's mad with? I always question things like this because
Go on.
like, from what United's shown me in the last decade.
Yep.
When I'm looking at the players that we've missed out on, and people talk about Jude Bellingham and Erling Haaland and Cole Palmer and Moises Caicedo, when they've went somewhere else at a pivotal time in their development, instead of going to United, and then we're like, oh, we could have got them at this time. Part of me wonders whether they could have been, or they would have ended up as good as they have been if they actually came to us.
That's a good point. Sorry, just on that as well. Sorry, Colin Little's still a United coach, so I think I said former United coach. He's still at the club. Sorry, go on. Did you think that part of the reason that Cole Palmer maybe developed, or is because he was at an academy where
it's just I don't know. You just never sure whether they because obviously the development, especially that period, it's not always linear. Stuff can happen. There's a lot of variables in it. They could, who knows? They could have even end up better. There could be a possibility.
When you was a kid, was United on the table for you? Because obviously you went to Liverpool's academy. You're a big Red. Was it ever? When I say Red, I mean
United had a lot more first dibs on me when I used to go to the Cliff and back when I was before I even signed for Liverpool. When I was like 10, they just never fancied me enough.
Right. And then
Liverpool gave me the opportunity that United never. But if it was between the two, I remember being around that age and I was desperate to sign and play for United, but they didn't fancy me as much as Liverpool did at the time. They saw me as a bit of they gave me the opportunity, and then the rest was kind of history. And then I think my age group, anytime we played United, were always a lot better than them.
Really?
Our age group wasn't really that strong for them. And we had a really good, strong age group in it. That's about to have a Madrid baller. So
Trent Alexander-Arnold got to Real Madrid. I've seen the shirts have been burned already, aren't they? Didn't take him long for that. It's mad, that, innit? Because listen, there's United like Tevez when he left United, and players that leave United and you get disappointed or whatever. But I can't imagine getting out lighter fluid and going setting fire to your shirt.
It's your favourite word.
Go on.
It's performative.
It is performative, isn't it?
It's for the socials.
It is, isn't it? I hate it.
If it was genuine, you wouldn't film it because it's always filmed.
Yeah.
No one's gone on board. Well, no one's ever gonna go and bat and burn a kit of a player
and not film it. No, you wouldn't.
So it shows that they're doing it for.
The worst thing you would do, right? Genuinely, is throw a kit away with someone's name on it. But do you know what I mean? You wouldn't
understand it. Like he's fulfilled.
If someone does it and doesn't film it, then that's real hate. Then I guess.
But
he's fulfilled quite a large part of his career there with Liverpool. And it's not like he's leaving the table half empty. He's pretty much won everything there is to win. So what's, I understand that he's a homegrown talent and he's sort of run down the clock a little bit, but I don't remember. I mean, looking back at Fergie's team, when good players would leave, you always kind of had trust in Fergie that you made the right decision. But I guess this is Trent's decision, isn't it? That's what's annoying.
There's several things that will irk Liverpool fans. Obviously, he's a local lad, isn't he? He's home. He's not like. Obviously, if Van Dijk or Salah or everyone leaves, they'll be disappointed. But they didn't come through the academy. They didn't grow up in the city or whatever. He did. Also, his age. What is he? 25 now. You're similar, obviously same age 26. As you. Yeah. So he's got a lot of years left in him. Yeah. Whereas likes of Salah and Van Dijk are coming towards the end of their career.
When did Beckham leave United? What time?
Probably about the same age.
Same age. Yeah. Homegrown player went to Madrid.
Yeah, I think there was a difference with Beckham in the sense that you always got the impression that Fergie just wanted him gone. So it wasn't like I mean, there's been conflicting reports since then that maybe Beckham actually was trying to engineer a move to Madrid because he saw himself as a Galactico. Others saying that was never the case. David Beckham himself is saying that's never the case. He wanted to stay at United, and Fergie just, for whatever reason, just had enough of the circus that was around David Beckham with his missus and the attention he was getting in the press and everything. And obviously things went sour. You forget, the Real Madrid game where Beckham was on the bench in the Champions League was just ridiculous. But it always felt a bit more like he was pushed rather than him going, I want to leave. Because you remember when Rooney once signed a new deal, that felt like he wanted to go. Ronaldo was different, obviously. I was saying with Rooney, didn't come through the academy, but you always felt with Ronaldo he was never going to be a United player for the rest of his life. Yeah. So you could sort of stomach it a little bit more. But I think the point with Trent Alexander-Arnold, which seems to have hurt a lot of the Liverpool fans, is the fact that he is homegrown. But they were burning shirts. Was it Luis Suarez when he looked like he was going to go? Like, they got form for it. Even Gerrard, didn't Gerrard get it once? Like, come on, man. I mean, enough said. Joe C, who's been a member of the Academy for 51 months, thank you, by the way, that's great support, says, with these stories on missed players, kind of reiterating what you were saying, Ronnie, United sound like Arsenal under Wenger. No guarantee these players would have thrived at United to become stars. I think Wenger, players under Wenger at Arsenal, he missed out on the most, didn't he?
Yeah, Wenger was actually the one manager I missed out when I said that tweet about Fergie.
Wow, what was your tweet about Fergie?
The one that, because I kept seeing all those all-time 11s with United players keep constantly admitted by rivals.
Yeah.
And saying they weren't that good and overrated and stuff. So I said, all right, fair play. Fergie must be, if that's the case,
Fergie must be rubbish.
Fergie must have been
World class.
genius.
10 times better than the likes of Pep. I put Mourinho and Klopp. I forgot Wenger because Wenger's ahead of Klopp as well, isn't he? So, but
It's a weird one with Arsene Wenger, right? Because he obviously came in, he changed a lot about things with football and stuff. And some of the things now you look at and you think, well, that's obvious because you inherited a team that had drinking issues, and similar to Fergie, he was like, the health side of things, the diet side of things, like just trying to stop him from just going out and getting hammered after every game and eating God knows what. But then, what impressed me, I remember at the time with Wenger, was some of these players that he brought in, like Vieira and Anelka and Petit and players like that. You didn't know a lot about him.
No.
You got to remember that this isn't like back in the day where the internet was a thing where you just went online and went, who's Emmanuel Petit, what's he about and all that. So you kind of knew a little bit, but not much. And then all of a sudden, all these players just rock up at Highbury and a mint.
The quality.
Yeah, and he's paid pennies for a lot of them as well. And they're absolutely smashing it. And you're like, rah. But then, as his career sort of went on and Arsenal went on, they did obviously peaks at the 2004 when he got to when he drew those 12 games and won the title, got to the Champions League final, obviously couldn't go over the line. But then he seemed to lose the plot a lot. Like, some of the players that he not just didn't sign, but let go, or they couldn't keep hold of. And Arsenal just became a massive selling club. Like, look at City when it was Sami Nasri and Gael Clichy. Look at United with Van Persie. Can you imagine United selling a top player to Arsenal?
When you think about it now, isn't it?
Like, it was like he had this thing.
It's almost like a gift, wasn't it?
Yeah, 20-odd million or whatever. And you think, all right, he only had a year left on his contract. Right, well, you keep him for that year and let him go at the end of that. Don't let him come to us. Don't give a toss. You don't sell him to United and let us win a title. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? If that was the other way around, I'd be like, I don't care if he plays the rest of the year in the Resis. Just don't let him go. Don't sell him. Like, at least let him go when you haven't got a choice in the matter and he's finished his contract.
Because even Alexis Sanchez was so desperate to come to us, and
that's what I mean. I mean, it was a disaster.
It was a disaster. He was one of their better players at the time.
Yeah,
or might have been one of their best. But it's just out. I don't know if that happens these days, don't it?
No, it doesn't happen these days.
But we still a belief that United do hold that cachet currently, where without Champions League football we are able to attract certain players. I don't know how long that's going to last for. Usually people say we kind of compensate for the wages we pay, but because I heard recently about Victor Osimhen apparently being open to Manchester United even without Champions League football, and that's usually one of the premises that kind of either helps or hampers you going into your negotiation, or your strength of negotiations going into the summer. That's why I thought Europa League was so important, because if we get Champions League football, obviously we get increased revenue when we're struggling financially, but also you're able to attract better players that kind of say, oh, you're playing in Champions League. Yeah. I love that. And I think it's, obviously there is like a bit of a prestige of playing in the Champions League if you're a player, but I also know it's also financial as well, because I think you get more money.
Yeah, more rights, more wages,
your wages are higher when you're in your club as Champions League football.
It's so deflated, man, not being in the Champions League. I hate it. I hate when I'm watching, like,
there's also those
Villa have got drawn against PSG or whatever, and you're like, that'd have been a great game. Like, no, man,
you think it's a great game, or you're thinking, huge.
Yeah. But then you got moments.
Right. Like, you've got a game, and you're like listening to your open music or whatever. Oh, it's like, it's the Champions League.
I know, but you kind of want to think to yourself, like, you want to hide yourself away a little bit if we're as defeated as we are now. We're getting beat off the likes of, we're getting tonked by Bournemouth and places and teams like that. If we go against the biggest...
when I see, like, Arsenal in the Champions League and, like, having these mad nights, and then Villa and stuff like that, and I just think,
is it like,
should be us.
Is it just getting up for a watch long? It's just like...
Well,
it's like United versus Bayern at the Allianz, or is it away on a Thursday.
I mean, I'm not just saying
against Karabakh. I don't know.
I know I am the hardest man, working man in YouTube, but
it's a bit more fun, isn't it, when it's not?
I don't. That's like the last thing on my mind is about to watch. Like, it is a consideration. I get it, because you're right. Because some of them you're like, oh man, we're playing teams I've had to Google, I've never even heard of, and it's like, you know, you're trying to sort of get over it or whatever. But for me, it's just that whole occasion. United should be, as a club, the size of our club, we should be in the Champions League. One of the pioneers in that European Cup.
Of course.
First English team to ever win it. First English team to compete in it. Obviously, the first English team to do the treble. Only one to do it without cheating. And yet, we're not in it. And I see some of these other teams, and I do get jealous, I admit it, because it is frustrating. United have sort of, it seems to be changing. We're changing slightly now. We're signing players. Like, you look at Heavy, you look at Cheeto. We are going for younger players. We have missed out in the past on doing that, on trying to do that. Maybe there was a time when we could have done that successfully. With the big one, when you saw Ole Gunnar Solskjaer on the overlap, when he did stick to football, we talk about Erling Haaland. I think it was twice he tried to get United to sign Erling Haaland when it could have happened. Not now, obviously, and probably by the time he went to Dortmund, it was over. We weren't going to get him. But there was a time when he was in Norway where United, look, you know, Ollie was like, look, you need to get this kid. And we didn't. I mean, some of these moments you think it's proper sliding doors, isn't it? It
is sliding doors moments. And there's a few of these stories that will all be talked about at the same time period, where we probably were wasting money on slightly older talent that was a quick fix but never really got us there, whether it be Ollie's time or even just a little bit beforehand, when we spent money in cash on players, on wages, where you think if we just bit the bullet a little bit and went for younger footballers, what could we be like right now? And we mentioned Jude Bellingham in a few moments as well. Again, I remember that Ollie story in the overlap where they talked about, you know, because you can rock up to Carrington, you can see these legends, you can feel the sort of atmosphere in the club much bigger than anyone else's, and that they could have been a future legend, but for some reason we either missed the opportunity to sell them, or someone at the club with the hand on the wallet didn't want to put the money where the mouth is, and now because they've probably all gone now, those people with the hand over the wallet. Now we're the ones sat, you know, needing goals, needing some creativity, needing a little bit more in the team. And we'll go through all these ones that got away. It's quite depressing because you think, crikey, it's a starting 11 there of just absolute worldly talent.
There's a mix. I mean, there's some players. I mean, some people in the chat. Get involved in the chat in the comments and let us know about players that you thought United were going to sign. It looked like we were going to sign. Everything was done and it just didn't happen. Let the ones that really annoyed you, that got to you. Someone mentioned it. I can't find it. About Ronaldinho. That was a big one. Steve talks about that quite a lot. I think that was all done. I think we sent Peter Kenyon over to Paris to get the deal done. It was agreed, and then I think there's been conflicting reports, but I think when Peter Kenyon was on Rio's podcast, he said that when he got to Paris or whatever, they'd moved the goalpost slightly and said instead of 25 million, it was 30 million or whatever, and then that messed up the deal. But Ronaldinho United shirt would have been phenomenal. Oh my
cinema.
God, cinema. Absolutely. That's an annoying one. Obviously, Haaland is a different one, but equally as annoying because it feels like could have got done, that deal. There's a quote here from Ollie when he was on, I think this is when he spoke to Gary Neville. He said, I had Haaland in mould for 2 seasons. The summer before I got to United, I rang the club and said, you've got to sign this boy. He'll be top class. That was July 2018, and they said no. They'd had enough reports on players. Then I became the caretaker manager, and we sold Haaland to RB Salzburg. I tell the club straight away to buy him while he has a release clause. We knew that then, and no one else would have paid the money, 20 million euros.
Amazing.
It would have been a bargain.
Amazing.
20 million euros.
20 million euros.
I think there's always that worry in there that we could have got him and he might have ended up got a City or whatever.
It's the nature or nurture debate as well, like Ronnie was talking about. Did the certain academies he went to help him grow as a player, or was he always going to reach the heights? You know?
Someone like that, I feel like
he was always going to reach the heights.
Yeah, you do feel.
It's like I think people like Jude and Haaland, there probably was always going to be as good. Maybe the pace of how good they were, or their output maybe might have not been the same. But you never know, innit? But with these things, I'm always thinking, when you hear the specific stories and you know you're very close, you've got an opportunity, especially the Jude one. But Jude's different because Jude was wanted by literally every single club in the world at that point.
I don't blame United for the Jude one.
Can't blame him. He just chose.
Because we did everything we could, I think, to get Bellingham. Yeah. It wasn't a case of we went, we're not interested. I think we gave him a tour of Old Trafford where Fergie met him and all that, and met his family and tried to woo him. I think there was a bit of needle between John Murtaugh and Fergie, because Fergie was apparently talking to him and John Murtaugh like interrupted him and said like, we've got to move on or whatever. As he's showing him out, sorry, Sir Alex, the most successful manager in the history of English football, but we need to go and show him the rest of the training ground. Like, just ridiculous nonsense. But with Bellingham, he obviously had his heart set on Dortmund, saw a pathway to play more football and then eventually getting a bigger move. And it worked. You can't fault him. Like, obviously I'd love him to have come to United, but
what was his? I always forget. What was Jude's transfer price
to Dortmund?
To Real Madrid.
Oh, to Real Madrid. Was it? That's a good question. Actually, I don't know the actual. Let's have a look. I can't remember the signs for Madrid.
Well, when you
let's have a look. It says here, Borussia Dortmund would receive a base transfer fee of 103 million. 103 million euros, with a potential rise by 30% to approximately 133.9 million euros due to add-ons from a sell-on clause, from which the sell-on clause would earn Birmingham City around £6 million.
It's mad the amount of money they've made, and they very rarely actually reinvest it into buying big.
The talent. They find the sort of middle-level talent, don't they?
So it was 88.5 million quid. I converted it
on base.
Sorry, going up to 133 million euros.
Do you think United have ever bought the best player in the world?
What, like Ronnie?
Do you think they've ever bought, as in like
the current
the time they bought the best?
Only Madrid does that.
That's
do you know the closest we got to it, right? And people will laugh, especially when they look at what happened with him whilst he was here and the fact it didn't work out. But I think the closest we have genuinely got to buying the best midfielder in the world or best player in the world,
like
or
a
one
top
of them,
three or top five,
is Juan Sebastian Veron. Like, that might sound ludicrous right now.
I thought you were going to say Pogba. Again.
No, that's not.
Pogba's a good shout.
Pogba's a decent shout as well. In fact, that's up there. But Veron at Lazio, won them there at the Scudetto, was like the main man there. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, everyone was like in awe of him, and we got him at like not his peak, but at an age where he wasn't. He was sort of coming into the sort of what should have been his best years. Initially did really well, but then he just wasn't cut out for the Premier League for whatever reason. It just didn't happen for him. The Champions League he did much better, and you could see the qualities he had. But at that time, that was such a big signing for us, because I think we just won our third title on the spin, and we signed him and Ruud van Nistelrooy. And I remember thinking, we ain't going to lose a game all season. We're going to win everything, and we finished third. It was mental. We went from winning everything, but we let Stam go and a few other things. But Pogba's not a bad shout. That's a good one. Yeah,
because you mentioned there's certain teams that do buy the best players in the world when they're at the top of the game. Madrid is the key, aren't they? They go in and swoop the Galacticos of the future. And I was just thinking in my head then, have we ever, as Man United, gone and bought the best player in the world?
PJ Trojan says Sancho, to be fair, lest we forget he was only behind Messi. I think he's talking about his goal involvements. I know it's not the best in the world, but his numbers were amazing, and he was one of the most sought after young wingers on the planet. When you looked at those players that Dortmund had, and he was up there with any of them. Santa Notch says the next nearest was Van der Sar. Weird win with Van der Sar, wasn't it? He was at Fulham. Yeah. What was he doing there at 35?
Yeah, what was he doing at Fulham?
How's that happened? It went from, was it Ajax, Juve, and then did he go straight from Juve to Fulham, or was there somewhere else in between? I can't remember. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad we got him.
Shout,
but it was kind of insane.
On the Bellinghams, isn't it? Because his brother's on the way to Leipzig, it looks like, isn't it? Job. Yeah. Job Bellingham.
You'd be laughing if you'd had mum and dad, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
Sons of cash.
Families full of ballers.
Super genes.
Yeah, just absolutely smashing it.
Yeah, but one's currently, is he at Sunderland currently, or where's he at?
Yeah,
you know which one you go watch more when you.
What?
The one in Madrid or the one in Sunderland?
I don't think that's how it works as a parent. You know what I mean?
I could probably. My son and my daughter both play football. Yeah, I mean, I have to mix it. Me and mum swap rounds, so we'll watch one a week. You know what I mean? You can't be like, it's better over in Madrid.
Yeah, but even he would understand.
You know what I mean? You can't be doing that.
Equally proud of both.
Yeah, you can't be like, well, Jude's playing at the Bernabeu and you're here at the Stadium of Light. Get a grip.
You know, man, a lot of people wish their kid became a top championship footballer at 19.
Joe's ruthless. Hey, Job's fully fell out of you now,
On his
mate.
way
You
to
ain't getting any of that
Leipzig.
money from the Leipzig deal. Forget that. So, go and
I've got
speak
a
to
fucking
Jude,
nice
see if he'll give you an extra few
little-
quid. You know what I mean? That's harsh, that. Do you know?
Don't fucking lie here, get on your high horse right now.
Do you think-
Telling me if you put in that situation, you wouldn't do the same.
It's the same as
Someone's fucking miles away as well.
I tell you what, who's
same
not
as
been
Ethan should know. This the Murphy brothers, isn't it?
Oh yeah, Jacob and Josh.
Yes, like one's just won the Carabao Cup, played Champions League football with Newcastle. Like the other one, I don't know. Oxford.
there.
or something,
Oxford.
Championship.
Like the Longstaff's what happened to... Not sure. What's the other one?
Matty.
Yeah.
Matty Longstaff, he fell off, didn't he? Toronto. Yeah.
Toronto.
Oh, wow, fucking hell.
I'd say a
In the
shout for
six.
a top player that we bought. One of the best. Rooney.
That's true. But he was still young.
He was still a
18,
youth.
wasn't he?
He was a youth, man.
18.
But he was... But after,
Oh, you're right.
after those Euros and that as well,
You're right,
everyone was
because
like...
he was so... He could... Yeah, he was...
18-year-old Rooney as well, let's not get it twisted. The guy was...
Oh,
What about
he was
RV?
wildly good.
RVP.
RVP is a shout, because he was, what, 29?
Yeah,
Absolute-
And coming off a great season.
Yeah, that's a shout as well. It's mad, innit? Because I always feel like when it's a Premier League player that you've bought, you feel like, oh, he can't be. Like, it's, you know what I mean? It feels like he can't be one of the best in the world because we got him from the Premier League. He must be like, he has to have come from Italy or Spain.
Who you say? RVP.
Who did you think we
I
said?
don't know, I'm trying to figure it out.
Who was you? What
You
was
just
you?
said, both of you said it. I thought you said, I won't say what.
Let's move on swiftly.
Did anyone else think that? Yeah, lots of nods.
I don't even want to know. It doesn't end well. Wally of the week time. I nominate you where you were going with that one. Ronnie, who is your Wally of the week and why?
Ooh,
I always forget we do this.
I always forget about this, and I'm on it every week. Who can get Wally of the week? What have I heard that's been absolute nonsense, and what have I seen? Can I just give it to the
Go on.
the Liverpool fans that have and their overreaction and meltdown and entitlement they've shown over Trent's career decisions, and the fact and almost being dismayed that a player's been out there since 8 years old, won everything pretty much for him and with him, and then he's decided to step up and go to Real Madrid, and they seem to not understand that.
Yeah, one thing I hate is when people say I don't understand when you obviously do understand. You might not agree with it, but it's like, what, you don't understand a footballer who's won the lot at his club.
It's like when
and wants to
it's
go.
like when the Bruno to Real Madrid rumours came out. Like, I saw most United fans that I've seen said that can't happen. I'd hate that happen, but a lot of them, but they've also said if Bruno came out and was like, yeah, I would like to be sold to Madrid in the summer, they won't blame him.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Look,
I
Real
don't know.
Madrid's different, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just
it
different.
is,
It is
but
different.
it is. It just
So much
is.
different.
And obviously, there's certain things whether that Madrid's got that Manchester hasn't, or Liverpool certainly hasn't.
Sunderland.
And Sunderland, as you pointed out, who's your Wally of the week, my friend?
My neighbours stole my bin.
Oh, I hate that. Really?
They've taken our bin in.
What do you mean in?
So they've
Your wheelie bin?
They've got our bit, the wheelie bin, yeah.
In the garden?
They've taken our bin in. I can see it through the fence. It's got my number on it and everything.
Right. Maybe not been
Leaving
round.
theirs, I can't be asked with confrontation.
But it's your bin with your number on. Can you not? Can't you just word it as like, I think that's my bin, you know. It's got my number on it.
Then I get worried about what if it isn't. I've got
Well,
their
it's got-
bin and their wheels dodgy. They know what they're doing.
If
Wally of the
well,
week.
why don't you do it as a return? I think you might be the Wally of the week in this situation, my brother.
I'm
Because
waiting till 2 weeks' time when the black bin gets taken again, and then I'm out like a flash.
right, you're gonna
And
do
leave
the
a
old
couple of
switch,
surprises as well.
switcheroo.
you're saying you're Wally for missing bin day?
No, the neighbours are Wally for stealing our black bin, taking it in as their own. It's like a lost child, but they was basically on the street. Black bin's got emptied. They've
Right.
nicked ours, even though it's got on the big side of it our number. Fuming.
Right, yeah. So now you're gonna have to wait and do the whole thing of
Yeah. Switcheroo.
Yeah,
Wally of the week.
What are you doing with my black bin?
yeah.
No, what's he gonna say?
I feel like you'd get in a lot more trouble doing that in Liverpool.
What? Black bin's like important, isn't it? Black
Don't
bin.
they have
Black
purple
bin.
bins in Liverpool?
Black bin day. It's a big. They
They have purple bins in
Can't be
Liverpool.
stealing bins in Liverpool. It means a lot to them.
Purple bins?
See, some people are having a dig at you here
What for?
for not going round and sorting it out. Do you know what I mean? Couple of shouts for you being Wally of the week for not going
Wally
on
of the
there
week.
and get involved. Also, Marcus says, what if they're watching the show? That'd be a good way to let them know.
Can I have my bin back? Fucking hell.
Just go round and take the bin.
I'm not going to go in the back garden and take the bin, am I?
Wait, they put it in a
Just wheel it down the alleyway.
Imagine that.
What?
You go on and they've gone out and they just see you out with the bin.
On the ring doorbell.
Like,
the ring doorbell.
That'll be in the paper. MEN will be all over that.
Oh, they would love it.
Hey,
The
radio
bin
DJ,
stealer.
breakfast DJ in bin stealing outrage horror.
When I was walking the dog this morning, I farted so loud next to a ring doorbell that I think that would have set the sensors off.
And then
And
that'll be going viral.
And they'll sell that.
Sell it. They'll sell it.
Fucking sell it.
Who too?
Well, they'll go, what's going on at 4:30 a.m? And they'll see me and I'll just lift my leg and...
That'll knock the Haaland buying milk story off the front page.
The worst is when your
McGrath
neighbours have
trumping.
your neighbours have cats. They basically use basically all the garden next to. They use basically 3 gardens. So it'll be like
Cats or Wally's.
cats. Do you know what I mean?
Cats don't give a fuck.
There's like 2 cats that are just
Cats hate you.
constantly in my garden.
I've got a cat
and
and a
I've-
dog. The dog can't wait to see you. Absolutely loves you. And the cat just like looks
Fuming.
annoyed at your existence. Just like.
I don't know how
he
people
shouts
do.
at
I don't
me.
know how people do cats.
Yeah, I get it. Do you know what? My Wally of the week is just going to be international football. It's just rubbish. We hate it. It's pointless. Who did England even play?
Albania.
Right, well, there you go. Right, no disrespect to Albania, but really, like, come on. What did that show us? What do we know now that we didn't know before? Nothing. Get involved in the chat and the comments. Don't forget, get involved in the chat and comments. We're ending the stream. Make sure if you're not doing so already, you are subscribing to the channel. I'm going to be back tomorrow. We're going to have the preview for the Forest game out in the morning. Then we're going to have the watch along for the Nottingham Forest game. McCola's joining us, Oppa's joining us, and the next United players joining us. Joe, where can people find you?
Sloppy Joe's podcast.
Is it still going?
At gmail.com then, but you can email us if you want. Just go search Sloppy Joe's podcast.
Yeah.
Joe Smith's normally on it. The next few episodes are going to be a bit wild. So maybe start from the beginning.
All right, start from the beginning. Go and check them out. Ronnie, where can people find you?
I'll
I'll give you mate a plug again. If you're already in that.
Disturb the
Can find me on Ronaldo Brown 98 on Twitter. I don't even. To be fair, I never know
that was
what
said
my-
with enthusiasm.
Do you know what I mean?
Wasn't it? Yeah,
Listen,
go and find it on
follow
your
me if you
socials.
want. Follow me, and if you interact, whether you like or don't like what I say. And as for the top, I feel like it's just a decent audio in general.
This is a good idea.
Cheers. If anyone else wants to give me free stuff,
Yeah, send it to him or to me.
Feel free.
We're all happy for freebies. That's been Joe McGrath. That's been Ronaldo Brown. I've been Jay Motty. This has been a Paddock Podcast. Thanks for watching.